Hello everyone, thanks for joining me today. Today I'd like to go over some of the gear that I use here in Pennsylvania for the archery season. And I just want you to remember to take what I say with a grain of salt. Everybody's archery situation is different. Everybody's able to do different things. Everybody's able to afford different things. So whatever I say, I don't want you to be like, oh, that can't be the best or that is the best. I want you to say, okay, that was the best situation for him, that was the best monetarily, or that was the best that was available, or just the best thing that shoots well or works well for him. And I just want you to find what shoots best for you, whatever the price tag, whatever the size. And I want you to enjoy the sport of archery, and especially the sport of archery hunting. So let's get started. So I used two bows this year. This is one of them. This is a Hoyt carbon element set to 30 inches at around 63 to 64 pounds. I bought this bow this year. I have never been able to obviously afford a bow like this brand new. This is the 2011 model, so it has the fuel cam and a half system on it. I was able to get it used. I buy all my bows secondhand. I've never bought a brand new bow for me. This bow, when it first came out, was an $1,100 bow, and I never would have purchased something like this. This is way past my normal price range, but I found it secondhand. The gentleman I bought it off of gave me a spectacular deal on it, and I couldn't refuse. I've always wanted a carbon bow to try it out. I've loved the Hoyt name. I've shot them for years. So, like I said, I had this. So I bought this fall actually, and I was able to harvest doe with it this year. Also this year, I stepped away from sim string leeches and I started using BowJax. These are the ones that you serve in. I'm not one of the fan of stuff you slide on over top. For my cables in particular. The bow is very quiet. It has a stiffer draw cycle with these fuel cams. It's a little bit more aggressive, but I really like the bow. It's a great bow. It served me well. On it I have a Trophy Ridge React 5-pin sight. This is another sight or another instance of something that I did not purchase. I actually won this at a 3D archery tournament here in Pennsylvania for having one of the higher, more accurate scores or whatever I got to pick, and so I picked this kind of on a whim, and it has been a phenomenal sight for me. I won this I guess almost 2 years ago, and it is just fantastic. I've always shot Trophy Ridge sights, and this one is no exception in terms of the quality and how it's used. I love the React pin technology. That's been fantastic. You have to fiddle with it a little bit. It's not exactly perfect. I find that I sighted at 20, then I sighted at 30, and then I still step back to 40, 50, 60, and you can fine tune it just a little bit more. But overall, I mean, it's been rock solid for me. I haven't had any issues with it, and it has a light on it. I never have used a light on a sight. I've never been in a situation where I've gone, oh, I just need a flashlight right in my face. I've never needed that, and that's how bright a lot of these lights are. So typically the darker it gets outside, the less light you want shining into your face so you can see further past your pin. So I've never needed a light, but it comes with one. This is a $150 sight. I would never spend that much on a sight personally. But I mean, I will say, probably now that I've shot it and I've had it for almost 2 years, it's definitely worth the price tag. But it's still a very nice sight. This is a QAD UltraRest on here. I like drop-away rests. I've shot the QAD, I've shot ripcords, I've shot the NAP Apache. They're all fantastic. This one's very nice. Obviously, it has the setup, holds the arrow in place, and then when the cable releases it, it clicks itself out of the way. So that's nice. And it's done me well. I've put moleskin on it and shrink tubing around it to reduce arrow noise clanking off things. So it's been a very solid bow setup for me. I'm a big fan of heavier bows and longer axle to axle bows. This is only 32, so it's not super long. So that's why I have this insanely long Octane Stabilizer on here. It doesn't really add much in terms of the sound dampening. And more or less, it's just a 4-in weight. Gold tip. Expedition Hunter arrow. This is the 5575, so the 400 spine. Gold Tip's now changed that now. They don't do the 5575 numbers. I have tuned this arrow and I cut it and wrapped it and fletched it myself. I just bought these wraps from Schlem7 off of eBay. He's done a fantastic job. I've bought hundreds of wraps from the guy. He's done a fantastic job. Those are blazer veins on there, and I just so happened to have these. I fletched couple dozen arrows for a couple customers, and I just had these left over and the orange nocks left over, so I have red on orange on white, but you can really see it in the woods, and it's fantastic. And Gold Tip's a really well-known name. I just so happen to have these shafts left over from another archery build that I did, and so I just fletched them up for this bow, and I used them. So they did a really good job. They fly really well. Gold Tip's a fantastic name. They've won countless tournaments. So this whole setup for me was just really well done. I use a very cheap Tru-Glo Quiver. Only holds 4 arrows, but you really don't need more than one when you're in the woods. I just found this one to be, it has plastic on it, which is fine, but it doesn't squeak even in the cold weather. And the rubber grips have worked really, really well. I was really pleased with this whole setup this year. In comparison to my Hoyt Carbon Element, this is my, well, now technically my backup bow, although I quite like this bow. This is a PSE Bowmadness XS, the XS for extra short, I guess. It's only 29 and a little over a quarter-inch axle to axle. It's a super short bow. It is obviously a single cam, and it is one of the smoothest drawing bows I've ever shot. I was not a big fan of the short axle to axle, but the original bow I had outgrown the draw length years ago, and I just bumped into this one online. It was used. Like I said, I buy all my bows secondhand. It fit my draw length. I even put an extra long D-loop on here, and it's just been super quiet. It's a 60 to 70 pound bow. I have it cranked all the way down to 61 pounds. I do not like shooting 70 pounds. I think it's way overkill. So since I stumble into a whole bunch of used bows, I would rather shoot a 40 to 50 pound bow, really, to be honest with you. Although I'm perfectly capable of pulling 70 pounds, maybe even 80, I don't know. But a 40-50 pound bow is more than adequate. But since I buy them all secondhand, I gotta go with what I'm given. It's probably only shooting about 250 feet a second, so it's not fast at all. But it's whisper quiet. I was very impressed. I'm not a big fan of PSE, but this bow is probably the quietest bow that I've shot to date. And I've owned some really nice Hoyts in the past. I've shot some Matthews, which have been outstandingly silent. And but this bow, for some reason, is just really blowing me away. I do have the BowJax in the string on this one. I have no peep rotation problems with this bow, so it's served me well in that regard. I have an Apache. This is just the drop away here from NAP. Done a very good job. It's very quiet on the down release. A little bit of moleskin. I haven't had a problem with it. And then a Trophy Ridge sight. This is the Outlaw. This is also, well, no, it's not a 5-pin sight, excuse me. It's only a 4-pin. I was able to harvest a doe with this in the first day of the season this year. This sight is fantastic. It has a metal, I don't even know, the arm, the shaft, I don't even know the technical term for it, is made out of machined aluminum. The housing, however, is plastic, so it's obviously on the cheaper, and I think I bought this off of Amazon for 45, 50 bucks. And that's all the farther I'll go in terms of buying a sight, really, about 40, 50 bucks. The Apache came with the bow when I bought it used off the gentleman, so this is a $70 drop-away rest. I normally would have just gone out and bought a $20, $30, $40 whisker biscuit, but I like the drop-away. It's done me well. Very pleased. Like I said, I was able to harvest a doe with it, very quiet. And I think part of the reason why it's so quiet is because of the arrow I shoot out of it. I shoot a Easton. These are the Carbon Storms. I don't think they make these anymore, actually. I think they call them a different name now. But these are spine 340, so they're a little bit stiffer. But I find they shoot very well out of this bow. I don't normally do a cock vein. I normally do just all three the same color. I chose Blaze Orange for this. They match the orange nocks. Just a standard 7-inch white wrap. And these arrows are 430 grains once the point's on there. And they pack a punch. I've never not had a pass-through with these arrows. They shoot really, really well. I'm very, very pleased with this whole setup this year. I look forward to continuing to hunt with it in the future. Now, on the business end of the arrow, I shot an expandable this year. I shot the NAP Shockwave 100 grain broadhead, over-the-top expandable. Bought them at Walmart for, I think it was $18 or $19 for a 3-pack plus tax. And they shot super duper well. Field point like accuracy. I've never come across a expandable broadhead that lasted more than 1 to 2 animals. So I wanted a cheap expandable broadhead that was readily available, and I thought I'd give it a shot this year. I had no recommendations of this broadhead. I just figured I'd give it a whirl. Haven't had a single problem, and it's done very, very well. The replacement blades and the O-rings are all readily available for it. You could buy it off of eBay, you could buy it off of Amazon, you could buy it at your local Walmart. I imagine you could probably buy it at Dick's or Field and Stream. And it's served me well. I shoot the 100 grain. They also make 125 grain for crossbow. Both broadheads that I shot were fully recoverable. None of the blades were bent. I ended up just putting them in a pair of forceps and hitting them to a whetstone and a grinding wheel, and cleaned them up, put the screw back in, and put a new O-ring on, and they both are flying perfectly, and they're both razor sharp. So I will take that any day. A $20 pack of 3 broadheads that are reusable with the same blade, same ferrule, same tip. I'll take that any day. Also forgot to mention that I also used my own version of a lighted knock. If you're interested in learning how to make your own, please click on any of my tutorial video and make them yourself. They're a lot of fun and they work really, really well. I'm very pleased with them. I'll continue to make them and use them for next year. Finally, the type of camo that I use. I don't do any scent lock or any kind of scent blocking clothing or any scent blocking shampoos, any scent blocking detergent. I just use baking soda in the washing machine mixed with some fragrance-free washing detergent, and I actually just go to Walmart or to Ollie's or those big bargain outlet stores, and I just buy cheap the coats, the outer layers. This is Realtree AP here, and I wear it in every situation: turkey hunting, whitetail hunting, predator hunting, all seasons, early season all the way to now in the late season where we have snow and bare trees. And so what I really do is I buy the cheap the cheap outerwear, if you will, and then I just pack on layers of my own personal thermals. So sweatpants, and not just necessarily camo, sweatshirts, jackets, other really nice wool-rich coats, that kind of thing. And so instead of shelling out hundreds of bucks for a really nice set of just one-piece jacket, parka, and pants, I'll spend a lot less money, buy just the camo shell. I actually, for most of the early season, wear just either a set of light wool pants like these BDUs, these military BDU related things here, or I'll even wear the standard woodland camo on the bottom half, and then a different camo on the top to break up my outline. But other than that, I don't really go hog wild. These are actually bibs here. These were stitched out of a cheap camo wool by my aunt, actually, and she gave them to me. I mean, that's the level, and every year I end up harvesting an animal. So obviously I'm doing something right. And I don't need to do anything fancy in terms of camo and the scent checker and the ozonics or anything like that. I just make sure I set my stand where the wind is supposed to be, hunt that stand only when the wind is right, and make sure I have a smooth draw and an itchy trigger finger. And I always end up with venison in the freezer. So I hope you're able to glean something from that, or maybe even omit something from your own personal list of things you take with you when you archery hunt, or maybe you're planning on buying a new bow now. I don't know. But I do hope you're able to learn something from it or gather some information from it. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're able to go out and enjoy God's beautiful creation, enjoy nature, enjoy the sport of archery, whether you hunt or not, and we'll see you next time.